training, it is mind-blowing, mind-blowing. I had to stand there for 1.5 hours to observe that surgery. The patient is European, the surgeon is European, the place is Europe, it's in Prague, in Czech Republic, and the music is also from Europe. So you can enjoy this 2-minute clip. Okay, the old cornea is being removed, the damaged cornea is being removed. This is a circular knife called a trephine. This tells you why it is called the miracle of sight. It's actually cut out and the cornea is removed out. You see the little circle? That's the new cornea that is being placed, the donor cornea that is being placed on top like a cap when what you put on your shoes when your shoes tear up. And you're putting your stitches through, okay? The same instruments your little cobbler is using down the road is the same thing, but the level of sophistication is probably 1,000 times more. You are doing this surgery at 300 times magnification. Remember, it's a human eye and a live surgery that is going on. And there are 3 people who are in the theater, the surgeon and 2 people who are observing, and there's a whole classroom connected on fiber optic who's actually understanding how you put the stitches, and the surgeon is constantly passing comments in his local language and explaining to the students how this surgery is done. Can you guys see, or is the light too much? Is it okay? Yeah, okay. So you keep putting these stitches. They have to be equidistant stitches, sometimes 16, then 32. And it finally turns into a sunflower. It's like a sunflower that is stitched. Can you see that? The one in the center is the bubbles. Okay? And this really requires a lot of expertise. Every stitch has to be equidistant, otherwise it becomes lala tata. Looking London, talking to Tokyo, you will get astigmatism, you will get different kind of images if there is any kind of aberration in the stitch. And that correction is even more difficult than the surgery itself. Sorry? Exactly, exactly. Okay, so the surgeon is now injecting a little bit of saline only to pack it up. Okay, it's only with the pressure of the saline and the stitches that the cornea begins to fix on to the recipient, the one who needs that cornea. Okay? Yes, only at the periphery. Sorry? Yes, yes. No, it dissolves. Well, stitching again is lots of techniques used. Different surgeons use different techniques, but basic technique remains the same. Yeah, the patient closes his eyes for the last time, and when you open the eyes, literally what you see in Hindi movies, you've seen a lot of these women screaming out and saying, "Doctor Saab, main dekh sakti hu." This is actually what happens in real life. Cornea grafting is called the miracle of life. We don't know how it happens, but it really happens. And there are several cases where the patient gets to see almost the next day. Okay, there are cases where the inner part of the eye is not so strong and the patient gets to see even 6 months later. Yes, there have been cases, but the fact is that it is a miraculous surgery, virtually unexplainable. You simply graft on a cornea and that's it. The patient gets to see. Okay, so this is what we call the gift of sight, sight after life, sight restoration, whatever terminology you want to use. In any case, this is what you can do. This is why I am here. What you could do is you can spend a little time, energy, money, and keep spreading this message for the simple reason that during our lifetime, we cannot donate eyes. So what we can do is create enough awareness so that every time there's a death in the family, in the neighborhood, wherever it is, you can at least spread the message and ensure that eyes get donated. Now, recently there was a presentation at the CCI Club, the Cricket Club of India. They have a corporate club social responsibility segment, and they have been generous enough to print some cards. Yes, you can use these cards if you like. Keep them in your pocket. There is no compulsion of filling forms and filling donor cards and all that, that is utter crap. It doesn't make any sense. Ultimately, your near and dear ones need to know that you are interested in donating eyes, because you will not be there to give them instructions. So you have to build a system strong enough so that everybody keeps saying, this fellow wanted to donate eyes. That was his wish. Not his last wish, but his ultimate last wish, even after he's gone. Okay, one deed he wants to do even after he's gone. He wants to donate either organs or eyes or whatever. So you could call 1919 or the nearest eye bank. Now basically this number is of Tarun Mitra Mandal, which is a network which does the collection all over Bombay. And yes, you can make a difference. It's just one call does it all. And the eye donor card also tells you what you should do when you're making this call. There are some instructions written at the back, like you close the eyelids, you put on some wet piece of cotton on the eyelids. You close the eyelids and you put a wet piece of cotton on the eyelids so that it doesn't get dried up. Okay? Switch off the fan, but do switch on the AC if you have one. Eye donation is done by everybody, and eyes are common to all. It doesn't differentiate between rich and poor. So the collection calls are sometimes in the slums and sometimes in very posh houses. It doesn't make any difference. Put a pillow under the head. Okay, so you're cutting off a little blood supply so that it's easier to remove the eyes. Keep the death certificate ready, and that's it. The rest will be done by the technician or the doctor or whoever comes to collect. So this was about your effort. Quickly, I will tell you in what the Gaswala Vision Foundation does and what is our mission. This is one of the patients that we handled some time ago. She is nearly 68 years old, lives in a remote village in UP. She has one son-in-law who is ready to spend on her or look after her. The rest of them live in abject poverty. There was no treatment for her in that village. I have this patient. All the patients are there on the website. If you log on to gaswalafoundation.org, you'll find all sorts of details on that. Every possible detail on the website. So this lady came to us through the slums of Govandi. She lives in the slums of Govandi because that is where the son-in-law stays. And she was here because she had to be handled. She has to be helped even to the toilet. It was pretty bad. So we were wondering, why is it so bad? I mean, clinically she seems fine. She seems quite healthy. If you see the ronak on her face, she looks even healthier than some of the ladies who live in Bombay. So we realized that she is one of those cases of cataract blindness. Near blind. Reason? Cataract. Very silly. So there was no help available in that village. Luckily, she had some people here. So cataracts got done. She's a lot more confident, lot more happier. Okay, and she's able to be independent. That's the bottom line. This is the story about a boy called, he keeps calling himself, my name is Khan. Okay, and he is really Shahbaz Khan. Now, unfortunately, the boy is only 17 years old. He has only one eye. He has only one eye. The other eye required a complicated surgery, both anterior-posterior segment. Like I had showed you the camera, the front part, the back end, everything had to be restructured, reoriented, a lot of surgeries done. There were other non-profits who were also funding some money. This boy is also unfortunately a little MR. He's a little retarded, goes to a special school or a daycare center. Now the reason for getting into all this is because we believe in inclusive growth. We believe in sustainability. So if you can basically place a patient like this into mainstream lifestyle, if you can transform their lives, you will make that little difference which goes a long way. So this is one such patient. This patient again, he is the son of a fruit seller and he has a job. He works as a skilled electronics technician, जो soldering करता रहता है. Unfortunately, he has also got only one eye, and one eye he was unable to see the soldering part. It was getting blurred day by day. Again, a set of surgeries, some eye sonography, and whatnot. He's finally back on track. He says the first day after surgery, he was able to look at his mobile. He was unable to dial his mobile because he couldn't see the numbers. He says that itself told me that, well, I'm on my way to recovery. He's back at his job. In fact, the reference came through the boss where he is employed, that if you can do something about his eyesight, I don't mind continuing, otherwise he will lose his job. So again, you're talking about inclusive growth, you're talking about life transformation, you're not just talking about, chalo, operation ho gaya, abhi ghar jao. We don't believe in that. We don't want to stop at that because it makes no sense. It's no point telling people, abhi tumko dikhta hai, abhi jao na, kuch bhi ghar pe baitho, humko kya? No, you get we asked the patients right in the beginning, if we do the surgeries, what are you going to do for society? How useful will you be to society? If it's not remunerative, will you do something non-remunerative? Will you be of some help to somebody? What sense does it make to us to talk about inclusive growth when that person is completely shameless? Because we are beginning to see that debt culture in our country. We are beginning to see a shameless culture in our country.